Player 4 Podcast's first t-shirt is now on sale at tpublic.com. Ever wonder what it takes to make a good podcast? We've already done the math for you and put it on a t-shirt. Visit our storefront at tpublic.com/user/P4Podcast and get yours today. That's tpublic.com/user/P4Podcast.
This is the Player 4 Podcast. Join us each week as we talk about video games, entertainment, and pop culture, and bring in guests from the Rooster Teeth community. Player 4 has entered the game. This is the pre-RTX two-parter. Player 4 Podcast is in the game. Hello, I am Tristan, aka Shagrazier on the Rooster Teeth website.
I'm Alex, aka Chaos Black 21.
I'm Malachi, aka Suki Kiba.
And I'm Joseph, aka J Dunlap. Whoa!
Whoa! Alex, how come you don't sound so excited about being here?
I think my introduction was more excited than yours.
Oh?
I'm just gonna throw that out there, so...
Okay. Alright, let's fight. Let's fight about this.
Yeah, cat fight.
Well, Tristan gives us like the cool radio personality intro. Hello, my name is Tristan Whiting.
Coming at you from the south.
Coming at you live from the Zeppelin races.
Okay, Bernie. Coming at you live from the Zeppelin races.
Dateline, Tokyo. So, this episode is a double-length two-parter because of RTX, which is happening right in the middle of when we want to be having our next right in the middle of our next episode. So instead, we're going to record it all today and then put it out one at a time. So
hold on. You know, I'm still wondering. At some point, are they going to make an RTXXX?
Oh God.
Do we have to answer that question?
I'm bleeping our answers to that question. I'm leaving the question, but I'm bleeping all the answers. Just have like a long bleep here as though we answered it. Like all of this talking, we'll just bleep out and it'll be like we answered it.
Well, you see, Alex, they and went on the pogo stick.
Pogo stick.
All right, thanks guys for answering my question.
We're off to a great start.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, there we go.
So, people were getting all hot to trot on the RT stuff. Alex and Joseph really wanted to talk about RT's Day 5. Finally, 4 years after it was announced, has released its first episode. Also, the Summer of Animation is going strong with Camp and Ruby Chibi, as well as RVB14, although that's not 2D. Then we wanted to talk a little bit about RTX itself and our plans therein. Then we're going to have a little memorial service for the Minecraft server.
Well, some of that's going to be in Part 2, correct? I think we were going to postpone RTX talk specifically for Part 2.
Oh, is that how I was going to go? I missed the transition then.
Well, since Part 2 is going to be released like right before RTX. Hi, everyone at RTX. See you next week. See you in the weekend.
See you next week.
See you in a couple days.
Whatever happened to Beavis and Butthead? Didn't they come back?
No, good things happened. They went away.
Aww.
And never came back.
No more TP for my bunghole.
No more of any of that. Okay, we're done.
So Day 5. Let's talk about Day 5.
Oh, yeah. Day 5, we're starting off with a bang here, right at the very beginning.
Giggity.
Boom. Diggity 5.
Okay.
As long as you're double tapping? Oh.
I'm just thinking, I guess Joseph is really sad that Beavis and Butthead is gone.
I don't know. I thought it was funny. I wasn't watching it. I don't hardly watch anything. But I do watch Day 5. How's that for a transition? What happened on Day 5,
Joseph?
What happened on Day 5?
Yeah.
People fell asleep. It was kind of boring. No, I'm just kidding. So everyone's seen this but Malachi, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's spoil it all for him.
No, we can do spoiler free. We can go based off of what people were going in expecting with the trailer plus here's why you should watch it.
Let's start. Let me just pause you there and just say let's start with what kind of an entertainment media is it? Is it a short show? Is it a long show? Is it a movie? What happened? What did we see?
It is. I would say it's akin to a normal TV drama, except that it's only 6 episodes instead of like how many episodes would a normal season for a TV drama be? Like 12 episodes?
It'd be like 16 to 20.
They
Yeah.
call it a mini-series.
Yeah, 6 is a good number for a miniseries. That's quite common. Okay, so it's a miniseries, and we're looking at maybe half-hour episodes.
Actually,
24
no.
minutes.
Yeah,
Well, the first one was 44, but I chalked that one up, and maybe I'm wrong, but I had chalked it up to being the pilot, where the pilot's always an episode and a half.
no, that's not always true. And the 44-minute mark gets you pretty close to how long a normal TV show
Hour
gets
long TV.
gets to is when they have commercials and everything. They were going more with that kind of length without going too far. I think 52 is the standard for a normal TV show that has commercial breaks. Is that correct? Somewhere around there.
I don't know. I've seen.
No, I want to say it's 45 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, because House of Cards.
Okay, gotcha. It's a good length of time to give the full story of an episode, and they may have just been going with that since that's the pacing that we're used to.
Now, I have a question for Malachi. Are you a sponsor?
Yes.
Okay, so you will at least still get to watch future episodes, because only the first episode was released for the public. All the rest of the episodes are for sponsors.
Okay.
So they're trying to get people to watch it,
Be
like,
interested.
be really
be a
interested in
sponsor.
it, to be at the point where, yes, I will get a sponsorship so that I can watch the rest of this.
All right, so let's talk about the story of Day 5.
Were there
How about-
5 days involved?
Yes, there's day 5. We'll just wait until he gets back.
So who gets back?
La, la, la. Joseph.
Oh,
La 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 la
we're waiting till I get back.
We are the Player for Podcast. Yeah. We talk about movies and shows and games and lots of other
Bleep!
shit.
Always gotta bleep you, Alex.
There you go. That's our new theme song.
It should be, and lots of other shit. Bleep!
After the words.
That should be the ending of the song. Joseph's gonna love that. That's almost as good as the brown noise story from.
We're not going to talk about this anymore.
We're not talking about the brown noise.
We're not going to talk about what we just talked about. That way Joseph will hear it later.
Okay.
You guys are dicks.
I think Joseph was listening. Okay. I think your cover might be blown.
Nah.
Might come back soon.
So first, before we touch base on the story, I want to touch base on the fact that it is quite a mature show for Rooster Teeth.
Okay, let's start with your one-word summary of the maturity of the show.
Boobies.
You
That
got
is all.
This is a public service announcement. Boobies. Thank you for your time.
But no, seriously.
Okay, so do you guys follow Adam on Twitter? I mean, Adam Baird.
No.
Yeah.
He put up a picture that had the teenager from Day 5 and a caption, "They were naked," and he said in the tweet, "This is the Rooster Teeth community right now."
It's not wrong. I mean, I felt like it accomplished something that I do have to give it a little bit of credit for. It humanized the characters. And it set a tone. You know, we are not above making these kinds of jokes, and there's going to be. It tells you there might be graphic visual humor, which is something that people have complained about Walking Dead for, which is a show that people like to compare this project's ambition to. That, you know, nobody on Walking Dead ever seems to laugh. And it's like, even if you're in an end-of-the-world situation, somebody's going to be trying to keep people's spirits up, even if it's their own, with levity. And so the fact that no one smiles or laughs or cracks any kind of joke on The Walking Dead just seems unrealistic to them.
It has the heart of a Rooster Teeth production. It has the levity, it has the humor, but it also has we'll say it has the tone of the beginning of The Walking Dead and other shows similar to that, which is pretty quickly the show gives you a mood that is so well crafted in the cinematography and the way that everything is put together, while also establishing early on the humor that we've come to love Rooster Teeth for. The guy that they cast as the lead,
Jesse C. Boyd,
is just so amazing for those two reasons. He's a great serious actor. He's also really hilarious. We get the scene pretty early on when he's trying to find some people and he finds them in a way he didn't expect to find them. The cinematography for that particular sequence, especially the last discovery he makes when he's there, he just passes by and realizes something horrible. That the way he acts that scene, the way that the ambient music and the overall cinematography is just amazing for that moment. But then but it doesn't take much longer for them to also give a light side to the character, to the show itself. It's juggling it in the way that Tristan points out. Perhaps Walking Dead could take a page from their book, being able to have moments of levity as well as the serious moments. When we discussed this in our Skype group over the past few days, I said something Tristan didn't agree with, which is that Day 5 is actually better than The Walking Dead. And it has nothing to do with anything except for the fact that it just seems to have a better premise. The Walking Dead is a great graphic novel, and it's this dark story of people fighting against zombies and against each other. And I feel like, for the reason that the premise of Day 5 is just overall better, the characters are more likable, and the fact that the zombie trope is so overplayed, Day 5's actually better in my opinion. For one thing, the characters are fighting themselves just to stay awake and to find a way to beat this whole thing. They're not running from zombies. They don't have to throw zombies in to punctuate a scene. It's constantly them fighting themselves and having interactions and trying to figure out what's going on.
What I thought was interesting was how one of the tropes in the zombie genre is that the people who are not zombies are also fighting each other for the resources to stay alive in this zombie-infested world. However, there's a scene in Day 5 where the cash and trade of this world is stimulants to keep yourself awake, and the characters run into other people in the world who freely give them stimulants. They aren't hoarding these things like you see in zombie genre things.
I found that interesting as well. The first character that the protagonists run into, one of the lead characters of the story, they ask him, we're crashing kind of hard. Do you have anything for us? And he tosses them a few nicotine patches, and it's real interesting. And I think we're going to see more of people fighting each other in the next episode, because Barbara said that her character will be in episode 2. And her character, the trailer had us believe, is part of an outlying off-the-rocker kind of group, you might say. And it kind of looked like they were in a nightclub of some kind, I'm not sure. And her character is just completely nuts. So I think they wanted to show us in this episode a group of people that actually were getting along and trying to work together to solve this, because there's no zombies chasing them. They don't have to fight for resources and throw each other at zombies when they can kind of just work together to keep each other alive. That's one aspect of it. And I think they're going to show us the exact opposite of that in episode 2. I could be wrong, but I think that's where we're going.
That's entirely possible. I was really honestly surprised when that happened. I started to think about it and realized there isn't really a reason to fight over the resource in this, because, food isn't scarce. In fact, there's fewer people trying to eat it right now. And there's nobody to stop you, because 90% of people fell asleep and died. And in this, in fact, humans are a resource in a more obvious way than in the zombie materials, because the other people can converse with you to help you stay awake. The resources and the way that the interactions between the characters and the resources in the world is just completely polar opposite to what you normally see in a zombie thing. So it's interesting how different it is.
There's also the line that Ali said, which was, you have an expiration date. And one of the reasons that the only precious resource in the world is anything that keeps you awake is because they're not going to live long enough to run out of anything else. It's so interesting that the story is taking place in such a timeline. This apocalypse has such a timeline that's so fast that there's only one thing that will run out. They will die before, as one of the characters said, the blueberry muffins die, basically.
Right. I liked that comparison, and that was something that I wanted to bring up, so I'm glad you said that, was that this, unlike The Walking Dead or any other zombie thing where it's this indefinite, you're stuck in a world of monsters, this is, humans will live 11 days without sleep. The human body and its individual systems inside shut down after 11 days without sleep, People don't live longer than that without sleep. So this has a definite and very short timeline, which means that they're going to keep the action going, and you know that there's an end. So it's rewarding in that regard, that you know how, when, and where it's going to end before you get into it.
And the fact that there was a moment in the show where the two main protagonists were trying to remember something that happened an hour prior. They measure the show not in months, not even necessarily in days, but in minutes, or in love, if you like Rent. But like, they're just trying to remember something that happened an hour ago, and the struggle to stay awake, and the reason that humans are such a resource is that every minute is so precious that a single minute could mean the difference between falling asleep and dying or still being alive, and you don't remember an hour ago as if it was a year ago almost.
Yeah. Because every hour probably feels like a day or a week when you're fighting against your own body to stay awake.
Oh my gosh,
and if
you've ever been falling asleep while driving, you understand what that's like.
Yeah, I've been there.
And the fact that every time they show someone driving, they're rubbing at their eyes trying to stay awake is so true. They also do a really good job of helping you feel how they're feeling. Whenever they're fighting to stay awake while they're driving, you feel it. Whenever they're feeling the stress of trying to survive, you're feeling it. Everything they say and do, you are feeling it in their motivations and the emotion of what they're doing. I also saw a comment on the YouTube upload of episode 1 where someone said a line from the very beginning, when after he kind of realizes what's going on, and he goes in the first place he goes to check, and he says something about not wanting money. They were like, "Why do you make me care so quickly?" They really, as you said, humanized them really well.
I am kind of I'm in this like kind of middle between Tristan and Joseph about where it is, because The Walking Dead, I watched the first season, didn't really interest me, didn't care to watch the rest of it. Day 5 has kept me interested because it's a new take. It's not about zombies. Hopefully the people don't wake up and become zombies from this, which I'm sure they're not. But it's a new kind of fear. It's something that it even makes you think, like, what if this actually did happen in real life, and I'm going to go to sleep now, and I might not wake up.
I think a lot of people have that fear.
But this, like, is even, like, to the younger people now. Like, a lot of young people don't really think about that, but this show is now making them think about that.
So you're saying it's letting this young generation confront their mortality, perhaps?
I think so.
That's interesting.
Them to.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It was forcing them to face their own mortality and accept that.
It brings me back to the one great line from the 13-year-old who says, "Oh man, I just realized that because of all this, I might die before I ever have sex." And the older character, the main character, turns to him and says, "That is the most worthy life goal I've ever heard, and I swear to you that I will help you reach it.
Even if I die."
All of those
Yeah.
exchanges between those two characters are so great. They have such a great chemistry as actors, which is bleeding into their rapport as characters. And it comes back to something Tristan said, I think he was hinting at, which is it's a very human show. There's such a human aspect to it. It feels natural. It feels real. The characters feel real, and their interactions are so genuine, and you really start to feel for them because you start to put yourself in their situation, because, as I said, it makes you feel what they're feeling. You start to not even so much root for them as much as you just invest in everything they do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the scene with them jumping on the bed because they're just trying to stay awake. They've got nothing else to do, and they're just sitting in a house trying to stay awake. I mean, even that.
And going back to the whole showing the younger generation their mortality, they even say, like, a few times, "You're like the only kid that I've seen in my travels since Newark," which has been a while. That
actually surprised me greatly that he would say that. I thought, would kids have trouble staying awake? And I guess it's a mental willpower kind of thing.
Well,
it would
more than that.
It would hinge on how he managed to stay awake. If we ever find that out, that would be interesting.
Part of it was that the kid's ADD and is on Ritalin, which is a stimulant that's supposed to keep your mind on track.
The Ritalin part was great.
I did notice, as you stated, when the pilot comes in and says, "I haven't seen anybody your age since the first day," and I was going to answer Joseph and say that that's kind of a body chemistry thing right there. The reason that babies take naps so frequently is, and children, and they wean off naps as they age till the point where you're adults like us, and we sleep at night and we're awake during the day without any naps. It's because they use up so much more energy growing, like at all times during the day, so they sleep to restore that energy. So kids have large bursts of energy and then they pass out.
And then as you get older, you start to take more naps again.
I was going to say, I take naps all the time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't understand people our age who nap.
It's because I get tired. I can't help it. I get tired and I crash.
His kids are growing, so they take away his energy then.
Oh my gosh, you're not even joking. It's a person-to-person thing, like the fact that some people can get by with 5 hours of sleep and some people can't. I think we digress. I think we digest.
Let's digest.
Yeah. Any more about Day 5, or do we want to just kind of wait and comment on it further when the show progresses and after Malachi gets to allow us to relive vicariously through him? A year from now when he watches Day 5?
You're living vicariously, Day 5.
Hey, I won't be behind forever.
Hey, you say that. You say that.
Joseph.
We were totally going to be done with Red vs. Blue by RTX, but no.
We pretty much covered one almost every single podcast.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, I'm just giving you a hard time, Malachi. Should we
No, you're not.
move
You're
on from
just
Day
mean.
5?
You're just a jerk.
Yes,
I am.
We should move on to RVB.
RVB?
Since we brought it up. RVB 14. So we've had the whole thing where we found out how the soldiers got picked. Then we had an episode of them being actual like Lego Connect character things.
Yep.
Alex, I actually wanted to clarify something. Those are not Legos.
Well, I know they're not Lego.
They're Mega Blocks. The Halo is a Mega Blocks thing.
Yes, I have one that I got at RTX. But now this recent one actually had the Funhouse guys playing roles of soldiers that we've never seen before.
The mysterious orange team.
Oh, yeah, that was actually...
orange-red.
Yeah, they're red.
Is there going to be more to that story?
There is. It's a two-parter.
Okay, because I want to see the rest of that story. That was hilarious. Those guys had hilarious characters.
It gets funnier. The second episode has even more fun jokes and more interactions between the characters. I really did feel like an out-of-left-field thing that they decided to say that these guys were going to go and interfere in Blood Gulch in Season 1 time period. Mm-hmm. They turned that into a joke in and of itself, which I thought was great.
Desert dance.
There's a dance. The desert dance. Yeah, I saw his desert dance, so I came right over. But it just felt so weird being like, yeah, we're going to go destroy those blues. It's like, but they're looking at the blues in Season 1. Is there like a transmission delay? Or no, she definitely just scanned the planet. These guys weren't there in Season 1. What could they possibly do with these guys that's going to be a fulfilling storyline that doesn't interfere with the rest of the RVB storyline?
Wasn't there an entire storyline where Church tried to change things and failed?
Time machines.
Except for my theory that he wasn't actually there, but...
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying he had the time travel ability.
But it's funny that they did make light of it. They're like, why is everything so blocky and pixelated?
I thought it was just our monitors, but now we're here. It really is just lower resolution.
Well, that's weird to me because they did end up remastering shot for shot the early seasons.
Well, the guys that are in this one are coming from, what would you say, Tristan?
Halo 3.
Halo 3.
It looked like Halo 3 to me.
So going and putting those characters actually like on top of the Halo 1, yeah, even the updated that they did was pretty interesting.
Okay, so the joke was more about the graphics of Halo Combat Evolved rather than the resolution of... Thanks for the unison, yes.
We're good that way.
Okay, so that's Red versus Blue.
Yeah.
So what's next?
Versus Blue, then, guys.
Next, should we talk about Camp?
can talk about Camp Camp. You said you were really loving Camp Camp.
I was really loving Camp Camp. Here's my thing though. So I've watched both episodes that are out right now. I feel like they really do a good job of starting off and ending the show with great, hilarious parts. In between's great, but I don't know, for some reason, I think the best parts are at the beginning and at the end of each episode.
The middle tends to be the dry part, the dry humor, the gags, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle kind of strikes me as early 2000s kind of Cartoon Network humor, like Dexter's Lab, but then it gets a little bit more crazy towards the end of each episode.
Yeah, I've been appreciating that, and just the interactions between the characters, the voice actors, they bring a lot into it. Just Miles being the camp counselor and Michael being the protagonist, as it were.
I think, well, first off, Miles is doing a great job with his voice acting. I think he might be a little bit too over the top, but it really works with the animation style. And then, Michael missed his true calling at some point in life to become a voice actor. So I think it's really good that he's coming into his own here. Like, he's doing such a great job.
Well, he's done some voice work now. He's actually played a character on one of my favorite animes, Fairy Tail.
Really?
Yeah, which and actually Barbara has as well. So I haven't gotten to that part. I started at the beginning. I'm working my way there.
Are we going to relive vicariously?
No. I'm already close to where I had stopped, and they actually had started not too far after I had stopped. So I'm really looking forward to that. I usually watch using subs, but I will make an exception to hear Michael and Barbara.
Oh, you mean using subs, like listening to the original Japanese and reading the translation?
Yes.
It's like,
yes, I will use.
I don't think they speak Japanese.
They've been getting into a lot of animated projects like that. Not just Fairy Tail. I think there have been a couple other anime they participated in as well.
Okay, so what else about Camp Camp? I did not watch the second episode.
God.
Oh my goodness. You can't talk. Show some English, quick.
Oh, I really want to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil it. God.
It's not even, don't spoil it for me, as we typically try to avoid spoilers, don't we?
Try to.
I want to talk about it.
It's such a fun episode as they're trying to get a mascot for the camp.
I swear to God, if you don't laugh at the very beginning with what happens, God.
Oh my,
I'm
no,
so disappointed in Joseph.
I don't usually spit take from things, but that one would have made me spit take.
Just the sound.
It was really good.
Okay, well, I'll make sure I watch it.
Also, at the end, like I said, they end it so perfectly, and there is a quote from it that I saw someone post on Twitter that I'm like, that's probably going to be a sticking quote from now on.
You mean a t-shirt?
Might not be a t-shirt based off of what is said, but it's a quote that I could see. I'm sure definitely at RTX this year, we're probably going to be hearing it a lot.
You mean like 2012 when all you could hear was Mark Nuts over and 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 over.
No way in and no way out.
No way out.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah. And then the next year, I think, was The Fuck Train Has No Brakes.
And don't forget, Let's Play.
Let's not.
No, there's another quote here at the end of episode 2 that I'm sure will be said a lot. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Tristan.
I don't remember word for word. I'm sorry. I was watching lots of other things as well, so it didn't stick with me. I'm sorry.
You know what this makes me think of? When Rooster Teeth had just started doing their video podcast as a live stream, and I was doing the memes.
Mm-hmm.
Within a few weeks of when I did it, possibly the second or third week of when I did it, their podcast was something they recorded at PAX Australia. And that's why I remember it, because I made some memes of it. But there was a guy with a dumb horse head, if you remember that. And they couldn't hear him.
Don't put your horse head up to the mic. That doesn't make it any better.
And then another guy walks up and goes, "Let's PAX." And they were like, "No, that was dumb. Shut up. Go sit down. Nobody do that." So he didn't get to ask his question.
Yep. Don't screw around or you'll lose your place in line.
I kind of want to go back and look at all those memes again. We should link dump that. Do we have a link dump anymore? I ask
The
rhetorically.
linked up.
There's a link dump in your imagination.
Yeah, the link dump of the
Use your imagination.
I mean, okay, if I was actually given pictures of stuff, but also the fact that you guys usually end up putting photos in anyways of things that we talk about, it's like, why even put a link dump in then?
Well, that is kind of the strength of why we put our podcast on YouTube in the first place, is illustrative purposes, so they don't always have to look at our mugs.
Nugs. I actually appreciated this podcast that you just did the video for, where the first half of the video was you saw us almost none of it because it was all images from what we were talking about.
Much like what I do with my Magic podcasts, I felt like the best way to approach the Warcraft review was to constantly visually illustrate what we were talking about. So even though I did repeat a few images multiple times, I felt like that was the best approach to it. Anytime it would benefit from it, and then if we kind of broke away from that, then I would show our faces. So I'm glad you appreciated that.
Yes.
I just haven't gotten to see it because I was too busy trying to watch Day 5 before we
You
recorded.
haven't? Okay. See, you're going to really appreciate this, Alex, because of the thing you did where you made my mom have a British voice. I did something with that. I did a
God.
thing. And I did a thing.
I don't even remember that, so I'm more intrigued.
And if you're listening to this, just go back and watch it. It was a great episode. I actually really enjoyed episode 69, which I was so proud of you guys. I just want to say I sent a message to the Skype group after we were done recording, and I was processing the raw file into a MP3 so I could edit it, and I noticed that it was episode 69. I was like, I'm so proud of you guys for not making jokes about it. You guys are so mature. And what did you guys say? It's because we didn't know what episode number it was.
Yeah, we don't. We
If
never
we had
know
known what episode
it is.
number it was, we would have made all the jokes.
But Joseph, don't worry. It's still a sex thing.
I knew it.
It'll
Alex.
always be a sex thing. It's a sex thing, right? It's a sex thing.
Yeah, okay, so it's episode 70 and you're making the episode 69 joke. It's fine. It's whatever. No, it's cool. I'll probably just have to
Only
fix it in
miss-
post, right?
We're
Right.
just fashionably late.
You guys are dicks.
There's movie magic, and then there's Joseph magic.
Yeah, so I think this is end of part 1. Is this close to
No,
end of
well,
part 1,
well-
or?
Do we want to touch base, since we've touched on the other shows, just briefly on Ruby Chibi and how Tristan and I were unfortunately wrong in that, well, we thought it was just going to be around season 1 and season 2, but apparently they defied the laws.
I have opinions, and I'll share them during the discussion.
They brought back Pyrrha.
Cliffhanger. Wait, damn you. You screwed my cliffhanger over.
Wait, there's a cliffhanger?
Thanks for listening to part 1, everybody.
Wait, when are you going to talk about Ruby Chibi?
In part 2.
Oh, we're going
Which is now. Welcome to part 2.
No, that's not how it works.
how it works.
That's not how it works. We have to be like, okay, it's time to go. Was that me doing it?
Okay,
Did I do
it's
this?
time to go.
Goodbye.
See you guys in the
Alright.
next episode. It's been
Bye,
fun.
everybody.
Bye.
Peasant.
We are the Player 4 podcast. Yeah. We talk about movies and shows and games and lots of other shit.
Bleep!